live. So I always do la, 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 la. We're praying to the tech gods. Oh, look.
We're live.
We're live.
The tech gods are cooperating today. We get to be live.
We get to be live. All right. So, and it even did the right thing. Oh, we're cooking with gas this morning. All right, I just want to put your stuff in the, before we get juicy starting here.
So for those watching the replay, you can fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, fast forward through this process
of wrangling the tech gods into place. No worries.
All part of the adventure.
It is. It absolutely is. It's a little peek behind the scenes. When you're doing business, you have to be, flexible, resilient, go with the flow, beat the technology into submission every now and then.
Exactly.
Pun intended. Totally pun intended.
All right, so everybody's where they need to be. So are you able to see us live and make any comments or anything like that, Dana, on your end?
Let me have a look. I can't minimize Zoom while I am on here. Okay. Good question. I probably should have brought up the YouTube first, right?
That's okay. I kind of got the YouTube up. So like I said, this is our first. You're seeing us being deflowered as we speak. All right, while you're doing that, I'll share it into YouTube, see if we can get some people over. Sorry, into Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, not sure how I find your, there you go. Oh, looks like I see live now.
Okay.
Can I comment? It won't let me comment.
Okay. All right, are we ready?
We're ready. Let's go for it. You get it started. I will share while you're getting started.
Okay, you start talking.
Oh, all right. So my name is Dana Pharant, and you are with.
Wait, actually, hold on. Please breathe. I'm going to hit record here. We got to record.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to record? You might want to hit your record.
I've been recording.
Okay.
But all right. I will stop and start again.
All right. Now go, Dana.
Okay. All right. So pleasurable business leads to wild profits. Woo! Woo! My name is Gaia Morrissette, and I'm co-hosting this with the amazing, lovely Gaia Morrissette. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, good. I always hate when people pronounce my last name wrong. But we are getting this rolling. Today is the first day, and we really want to look at all the different aspects of the woo, the practical woo, your sexuality, your having some fun, and looking at how to actually get into the place of having business be something that is not only pleasurable, but also brings you lots of income, profits even, because top dollar doesn't mean anything. You want to have the money in your pocket. All right. So that's probably about as technical as we're going to get. Today has been our first day going live on YouTube. We may be running into some technical glitches, but you're going to get to see the behind the scenes and all the fun. And Gaia and I are just going to have loads of laughs. So Gaia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. So the beautiful thing about, watching us in our, our deflowering today of our adventure with one another on this wonderful new adventure called Pleasurable Business Equals Wild Profits, and this new, venture that me and Dana are going on, is that you can see us live in how do we adapt? How do we move through stuff? How do we move through challenges? Are we like swearing? Are we laughing at it? Right. And so this is a great opportunity to, also just learn from, what not to do as we go through this process.
Yes, here's how it looks pretty ugly.
And so, a little bit of a backstory for everybody who doesn't know either one of us or both of us. We met, when did we meet? We met a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so it would have been maybe even 3 years ago, because it was just after I spoke the Mo Mondays Toronto, which would probably be at least 2 years ago. And of course, Michelle Nere introduced us because we have very similar backgrounds in our healing journeys. Mm-hmm. So and it's been a great connect. I mean, we've been kind of like doing this little weave in and out for a little bit, but this last 4 months, we've really connected, made a much deeper friendship. And, I find that we've really clicked in who we are, how we're showing up. I love, you call it like the soul, and I just lost the word, but the soul standards. Yeah. The soul values of, how do you show up in business? And you and I definitely have a big alignment in how we want to run our business. The fact that it's a personal journey as well as about profits. So it's not just, all about the money, but it's also about who do we become as an individual as we grow our businesses.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a beautiful, blending of our personalities and who we are. And, recently, Dana did this fantastic event that, she asked me to come speak at. And that's when we knew we had this thing, this synergy between the two of us that the world needed to see. And the whole time, every time, the cameras weren't on us, we were laughing and being ridiculous and obnoxious and having a blast. And one of the participants, secretly saw that, because this was happening over in the background, and said, "You guys need to have a camera on you at all times." So we thought, oh, maybe that's a good idea. And voila, this is how Pleasurable Business Equals Wild Profits was born.
Yes.
So Dana, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, like what you do in the world.
Thank you. So my background is business. I've run my own business for the last 26 years. I've built a 7-figure massage supply outlet, sold that. I've done massage therapy, which ended up morphing into kind of coaching and personal development over the years. So I've been working with clients for 26 years. And then also in amongst that, I spent 6 years and trained to become a dominatrix. And so that's what has really kind of created this foundation of what I do, and in inviting people into what I call the inner dominatrix, which is this archetype that I think, primarily I love working with women in business, but I work with men as well, in stepping into this energy where you let go of making yourself wrong. You let go of anything being wrong. You welcome being judged. You welcome the challenge of business, leaning into all of it, and, creating this amazing space for yourself where you feel empowered for you, not in the puffed up kind of empowered, but that space that is like you are so lit up and turned on and aligned with what you do that you can't help but be successful. And that has really been my mission, is to invite people to step into this bigger game. And I realize that I've been realizing recently that, I really love working with people with what I call the 7-figure mindset. And it doesn't mean that you're earning 7 figures or you're even, there within the next year, but that you have that big vision of what you want to create in the world, whether it's profit or nonprofit, that big piece. Because when you go really visible, there's all kinds of interesting pieces that come up that challenge who we are and how we need to show up in the world. And so that's really my passion, is I want to work with those people that have that really big vision of where they want to go.
I love it. I love it.
Yay.
So a little bit about me. I'm a holistic sexual wellness specialist. So I come at it from the juicy pleasure sex space. And what I found, through my private practice, and, I've been doing this work for, over 20 years, is that there's all these happy byproducts. And one of the, really fascinating and amazing byproduct of working on your sexuality and being a sexual being and embracing and moving in that mind, body, spirit, and sexual being aspect is that your business, especially for entrepreneurs, your business improves greatly. And profit starts to happen, and productivity starts to happen, and creative problem solving starts to happen, and development and growth and booming starts to happen, because you now are stepped into really working on your stuff. Like Dana was talking about, it's like when you move into these big mindsets, all of your, I like to call it for what it is, shit, all of your shit comes to the surface.
Oh yeah.
And the only way that you can get to that place is if you clear that stuff and you heal that stuff and you move through that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And for me, you come at it from that business perspective. And for me, I come at it from that sexuality and interpersonal relationship with yourself and intimacy in your relationships. And all of the same stuff comes up because you're right. And so that's the beautiful thing about, the way for both of us to blend together, is that the same shit comes up. How we brought it up looks a little bit different, but it's still the same stuff. It doesn't really matter whether you're going to have an epic sex life and an epic orgasmic life or an epic business life. It doesn't matter. You need to clear all of that stuff. So that is, I think, one of the beautiful things about what I'm loving about building my relationship with you, Dana, is like that. It's like, I've been so excited. I just need to give props to your book. Okay. So I've been loving your book. I read it every morning. I read a little chapter in the morning as I'm digesting what I'm doing in the world. And it's like, as I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I teach. Yeah. And so it's so amazing how our core movements and beliefs and how we work with people are so similar, yet it comes from different places. And so that's what I'm really loving is watching how, the way that you work and the way that I work are almost the exact same in a lot of ways. I mean, we have a little bit of wording tweaking and stuff like that, but for the most part, they're pretty like similar.
The core of it is so aligned, which is, again, right? That's why we click so well, because there is that alignment. And it's great in that it's like we attract different people because we're coming at it from a different voice, and it's whatever people need.
Yeah.
You're drawn to the piece that is going to get you there the most efficiently. So for some people, going the business route really brings up all their shit. Like, business has always brought up all my shit. Sex is easy for me, like, because I've dealt in that world, and it's like that does bring it up, but not this to the same degree that the business stuff for me, right? Whereas for other people, if they've really resisted the sexuality and they don't want to look at that, then there's a really good chance that that's going to hold all the juiciness and all the unlocking for you, right?
Yeah.
But same. It's like, whatever, like, pick a path that calls to your heart and do something, because the joy of this, I know you and I are like so aligned on this. It's like the joy of leaning in and just clearing out that crap, even though it's ugly and it's painful in the moment, the results, the end results are just so incredible.
Oh yeah.
Like, do it. It's incredible.
Yeah. So let's talk about Because you and I can just yabber on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, right? So let's focus our conversation.
Good, because I do have a time limit today.
Okay, so let's focus our conversation on what does it mean to have a pleasurable business? So that, we picked pleasurable business. Why did we pick that? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I love this, the name that we've picked, because for so many people, business tends to be this thing of like, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to like push, hustle and grind. And, I'm going to just crush it, right? All those kinds of things. But pleasurable business for me is stepping into that flow, bringing in the feminine, intuitive, so that you're aligned with what you're doing. And you need to feel the joy of your business, because like there are a lot of challenges and there are things where it's like, oh my God, I don't feel that great. I don't want to go to that interview. But then if you don't go to that interview, you're not going to get a chance to get it rescheduled and you lose out. And, the things, so there's times when you're going to need to, pull it in, muster it up and make it happen. But you do that by dropping into the reminder of the joy of why you're doing this. And I think that just, I know that for my business and for everybody I work with, when you drop into the joy and the pleasure of what you're doing, you can do so much more with far less effort. So that's where it sits for me, is doing it with more ease and better results.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's like all of the things that you were talking about. And then for me, in my movement, it's like dropping into the actual pleasure. So joy is wonderful, but for me, it's like, being the holistic sex fairy girl that I am, right? It's all about dropping into the pleasure of my existence, of my business, and how can I make this joyful and pleasurable? So even those tasks that I like can't stand doing, like writing contracts and doing my taxes and there's no, I'm like, how can I make this fun? It's like, how do I find the pleasure in it, wherever that might live? And really, for me, it's about that focus of pleasure seeking in everything that I do, but especially from a business perspective, because when I do that, when I see my clients do that, all sorts of awesome things happen. But when I do that, I can see I have more energy. Like I genuinely have more energy. And it's not like, oh my God, I just can't make it through and I'm just going to fake it till I make it. Like I genuinely am like, yeah. I'm excited to be here, right? And I find, and like you talked about with ease, I mean, I think that's the big part of that pleasurable business, is that it flows easily. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to look like that struggle and the suffering and the misery and the working hard and like I'm just gonna crush. Like it doesn't have to be like where I'm in boot camp. I'm in business boot camp, and I'm sweating and I'm crying, and it doesn't have to look like that. It can look like that, but it doesn't have to. And for me, I think that's what it reminds, is really that ease in which. How do you move with it? And energetically, what frequency are you sitting in? Are you sitting in that like space, or are you sitting in the la 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 la, it's all working out? And and that, I think, to me, is what that means, and where that sits for me is around pleasurable business.
And I found in my business that there's this space where it's like, something is a challenge, right? We're going to call it a challenge. And there's, when you're in the ease and the pleasure and, of it, then it's like, it lights you up. It's like, oh, okay, let me dig into this because I feel juiced up to do it, right? There's those times, if anybody has done serious workouts, right? There are times where it's like, you are like lifting that heavy weight and you're like, oh, damn, it feels good and it hurts at the same time, right? That's what we're looking for in business, where it's like, yeah, it hurts so good. Like it,
Mhm.
which of course, you know, pulls on the kink world, right? Good pain. We're looking for good pain.
Good pain, consensual pain.
Always good consensual pain.
But yeah, I think that's so true, right? It's that even those uncomfortable spaces that we are in, that because you're not in the crisis and the chaos of it, and you've moved into the, okay, how do I want to respond because I'm consciously aware of how I want to move in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like we get this great choice to be like, even if something is a challenge, it becomes then this like conquering adventure of like, I can totally do this, versus like, I'm curled up in the fetal position, crying, and it's tugging my thumb, and I'm like, why do you hate me so much?
Yeah. It's so cool. Like I had, it was interesting. One of my clients, so I have them, my private clients can send me messages through Voxer, right? Voice messages. And she sent me a message just before I left for holidays. She said, I get it. I finally get the, you know, the joy of the digging in. And it was like, yes, like that's the, right. Cause it's like, we have lots of things that we want to move through. We have lots of things that we're, you know, our shit that we're going to clear. And when we get to that level of like feeling the excitement of that challenge coming in, knowing that on the other side is like, oh my God, the breakthrough's coming, right? It's like, you're sitting on that edge of the orgasm, to pull in your world, right? So on the edge of the orgasm, there's that little bit of kind of pain and excitement and everything all mixed in at once, but you know that it's building and it's coming. And you've got that forward, like, oh my God, I can't wait. And it feels shitty and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So what is wild profits? What does that mean?
Wild profits. And then I love that you brought that up, because I think money is that area where we get really kind of wonky with people, or people get wonky with it. And, what is wild profits? I mean, wild profits is, I like the fact that we kind of left it open, because it can mean whatever for you. Wild profits might be, for some people, being able to pay all of their bills with ease. That could be like, wow, that's really freeing. That's really exciting. For other people, it can be, just profits for the sake of profits. It's like having that be a marker to say, okay, let me stretch it. Let me see if I can make, 50,000 profit this month. Let me see if I can make 500,000 profit this month. It could be that. I mean, it doesn't have to be that kind of craziness. I mean, if right now you're not in profits at all, don't start setting your sights on 50,000 a month profit, because that's it's a little unrealistic, and it does all kinds of crazy things in your head. So, but I think wild to me is like a reckless abandon and freedom. I think wild horses just running like the wind, just that crazy. Yeah. Reckless abandon is probably about the best words that I can pick on that. What is it to you?
Well, when I say it, my whole body tingles. Like my whole body's like, yeah. It's like,
I have what she's having.
Yeah. It's like my whole body actually wants to go into the beginning phases of orgasmic release. Like it really does. It's like this idea that, you like talked about wild. For me, it's like wild is like this freedom and the ability to surrender and to relax and to frolic, I see like skipping through the daisies, butt naked, like that's
You bring up some really interesting visuals, and my brain always wants to just like throw something else in there. So. Oh,
and, and there's no bees, by the way, in the daisy.
Okay, good. Or mosquitoes.
Or mosquitoes. All right. So, but it's all, for me, it's this, yeah, I love how it's open. And ultimately it's about, what does freedom mean to you? What does the freedom of money and letting go of the blockages around money? It's about, stepping in and allowing, what does that mean? What does it mean to be free? Does it mean to be able to pay your bills with ease? Does it mean that, you're working on buying your own jet? Like, where are you in that? But it's open to whatever that freedom of that wild profit means to you, and however that shows up for you. And through the process, that's what I really love about our title, right? About what we're doing here is that, so if you have a pleasurable business, it creates, as a byproduct of a happy byproduct, wild profits, whatever that looks like. And so each level of you are leveling up of what it means to have pleasure and enjoy your business and create from that place of, zen and joy and orgasms and all these great juicy things that we were talking about. It will then, wherever you are on that level of profits, will naturally start to happen. And so when you up level in your business, in those concepts of pleasure and business and success, then profits. And when you up level in letting go of all that fear around money and whatever blockages and shit we got going on, then your business up levels too. Like, it's just this beautiful, like, no matter which side you're working on, the other side will be affected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially when you're doing it with, a conscious awareness, right? So you can totally stay in the push, hustle, and grind. And, you can make a business profitable that way. You absolutely can. And I think, for both of us, we attract people who are looking to have a conscious awareness of their life and of their business. And so when you're looking to be conscious, then you do need to step it up that level where you bring in, whether you call it joy or orgasmic living or, pleasure, whatever we call it, you absolutely have to bring that in, because you have to kind of, I see it as like, pick a path. Either go the push, hustle, and grind and just push, hustle, and grind and keep going that way. Or if you want to go the conscious route, then play full out in conscious, right? Either or, you have to play full out. But when you're somewhere in the middle, like I see people who are like, they do push hustle for a while, then they try to be pleasurable for a while, then they, and the money never comes because they're always just zigzagging back and forth instead of going one direction or the other. That's just been my experience of what I've seen with people,
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think that, yeah, it's like whichever path you need to stick to. Okay, actually, no, I'm going to throw that out. I'm going to throw that out. Cool. I think whatever you're doing, if you feel like it's working for you.
Ooh, yes.
Right? If it's working for you, then continue doing it. If it's not working for you, I lovingly invite you to choose a different path. Right? Because no matter how much you try to make that work, it is still not going to work for you. So maybe time to take a different path. But I think the commitment to that path is the important part of that, is that it's not like, oh, it's not working because I have some shit that I'm avoiding. So I'm going to switch over here. And then this isn't working because I have all this shit that comes up around on this particular path. And now I'm going to switch teams again. So flip-flopping back and forth as a way to avoid whatever shit you got going on is not going to allow you to have success in either way.
Yeah. Well said. Because that, and that's actually kind of the underlying of what I was saying. See, this is why we work really well as a team. Bring up pieces, and then that brings up something else, and that layer, right? And I think too that we both come from the perspective of living our lives and our businesses consciously, choosing with intention of where we go. And, when you keep committing to that, and it's not to say that that back and forth will never work, because you still get awarenesses. I mean, I have areas that I've been, kind of done the dance in and out. I shared just before I went on holidays, I shared about competition and how much that has like constantly tripped me up. And that's, when I drop into competition, I drop over into that push, hustle, and grind. And, so I'm in that particular aspect, I'm constantly trying to bring myself back around to choosing consciously. And, part of that commitment is that you and I showing up. I mean, yeah, like there's a lot of overlap in what we do, where we're taking people. The journey of how to get there is different. So for me, this is also an exploration of how do I let go of another layer of competition so that I can run my business consciously and with joy, because competition is never joyful for me. I like that not feel fun.
And that's interesting. And I think our next show should be on competition. Our next show should be talking about competition.
For sure.
All right. Because like for me, one of the things I just quickly want to say a little bit about competition for me is that I find that I don't really move from a place of competition. I move from a place of we're all different and we all have something to contribute, and different doesn't make better. And how can we differently show up and support each other? That being said, a lot of times I'm alone on that team.
What are you doing? We're supposed to compete here. Gaia, you haven't got it right.
And that happens often. And I'm like, but you're awesome and I'm awesome. We get to both be awesome. There's no like, I'm awesome, which means you suck, or you're awesome, which means I suck. I don't play that game, right? So there's a lot of times where, I get kicked off the team because I don't play by the team rules on a regular basis.
Yeah. And, it's interesting. I mean, like, I know I get kicked off the team too, because it's like, even though competition trips me up, I don't want to live in that space because I know that doesn't actually work for me. I just kind of get sucked into that path. But I do find that a lot of the traditional business training that's out there, or even business coaching and accountability and things like that, like I'm not a big fan of those kinds of structures because I find that they trigger the competition. And I hadn't just now I just realized that that's a piece of why I don't like accountability, because it triggers my competition piece. And I'm intrinsically motivated when I'm dropped into the joy of what I'm doing, into that pleasure of the business. I'm unstoppable from within, not from a measure of outside. Even if I'm competing with myself, that doesn't work for me in the competition. Right. So, oh my God. Yeah, we can have.
Okay, so that's our next show. Next show.
It's a preview.
Okay. So to close up for our first adventure together here.
Yes.
How can people get more data? What are you doing in the world? So share a little bit about what you're doing in the world and how people can spend more time with you in different capacities.
Yeah, I think the first invitation that I'd have for people is that I have made my best-selling book available free as a digital download. You can go to my website, innerdominatrix.com, and download the book. Get reading some of the tools, start using them, get a feel of, is the message that I'm sharing, how I'm sharing it, does that resonate with you? And then we can have a conversation and look at, whether coaching or groups or whatever's going to work for you. But I would definitely invite people to go that route and, look me up on the usual social media, because I'm the only data Pharant in the world. Yay. So, yeah. What about you? Where do people find you?
So the best way to get a hold of me is at succulentliving.com to get to the overview of all the different possibilities in which you can engage and play and frolic and learn and grow and with me. But specifically for entrepreneurs, really wanting to really dive deeper into Pleasure Leads to Profit, I have a whole program that's called Pleasure Leads to Profit. And you can find that at Succulent Living under Pleasure Leads to Profit. And there's a lot of there's some really beautiful talks. Actually, one of the gifts is the talk that I did on Dana's stage, which leads you into like a wonderful 6-part series of juicy emails about learning how to make vibrating panties and all sorts of good stuff, right? So if you want to come play, that's the best way, is to go to the landing page of Pleasure Leads to Profit.
Which is appropriate for the name of this show.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how is the structure going to be to give our audience what are we doing? How often are we doing it? What's it going to look like? Let's give them some.
Yeah. So we're going to go every other week. Only what's going to happen is it's like once a month on your YouTube channel, once a month on my YouTube channel. We will share it out on the other formats so that you can, start to find us, but definitely subscribe to the channels so that you get the notification of when we're going live. If you don't want to miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to both channels, both Gaia's and mine. And that way you'll get the notifications when we go live. We are going, 9 a.m. Eastern every other Tuesday. So second and fourth Tuesdays of the month.
Yep.
Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
And
cover all the topics in around pleasurable business, wherever that leads us. We don't have an agenda, but next week or next 2 weeks from now, competition.
We're going to talk about competition because that came up.
Competition, yes.
Yeah.
And
I think the other thing is that we will also, throughout our adventuring together, eventually this will be turned into a podcast so that you can actually listen to us on your way to work or while you're at work. Mm-hmm. And then it'll also be, this possibilities of having other juicy, powerful, amazing entrepreneurs and, educators come and play with us every once in a while. So you really want to make sure that you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. I'm going to put that in the comments and the description below on how you can make sure that if you found it over here on my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, and then I'll also put Dana's YouTube channel in the details so that you really are in the know of not only about this awesome pleasurable business equals wild profits, but then you can also get to learn more and spend more time with both of us in all the other things and the other capacities of how we can support you making your world a happier, better place.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I love it. I am super excited.
All right.